Okay, welcome to our working group meeting, everyone. Tom Kennedy, that's one I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Welcome. Okay, we're working out of this document. I'm putting it in the chat. Oh my God, Zoom really wants to tell me about all of its AI features. Okay. Okay, feel free to add yourself here as an attendee. Let's see, first on the agenda, Jovan is here. Hello,
Hello.
take it away.
Yeah, thanks. Just wanted to discuss generally the current situation in the login metrics team. As Carson left, and practically I'm the only approver now in the team, and we need to regroup, reorganize ourselves, and continue working together. And wanted to ask about some things, or I wanted to discuss some things. When he was leaving, or shortly before he left, he told me that he was working together with some people at Broadcom to that should continue working on the project, but then some other changes came, and the whole thing is full of unknowns now. And now we had like this Srinivas, what's his name? Sorry about pronouncing it wrong. Who simply opened pull request that he wanted to be a approver in the group, and um, now we don't know how to continue on that topic. I think he closed his pull request as he didn't have enough experience. But we should think about how do we reorganize and involve more people in our team. We've discussed that internally at ACP as well. So I guess now we will get more time from our management so that we can contribute to log creator, but everyone has to go through the process of going contributor reviewer and finally approver with a lot of, say, work and
Yeah,
spend hours working with the projects.
I understand that you are our lone approver who's actually still working on it. I'm
Hmm.
glad you're still here. Please don't leave. And I'm willing to call like we don't have to follow the normal approver process when we're kind of in a state of emergency. And I would call this a state of emergency.
Hmm.
So I initially turned him down on face value, uh, more like out of respect for you. I didn't want to just be adding Broadcom people. But if we can add I will follow your discretion for who you think we should add to get this area of the working group running again.
Hmm.
We've done that for other areas like Metrics Toy, for example. There was just zero people on it. And so we just had to choose some people who were promising to work on it and
Hmm.
give them access.
Yeah, that's cool because it will be fun, and not that mm, I'm opening pull requests and I'm approving them myself. So I don't want to be. I don't want that we end up in this situation. I'm ramping up some colleagues at SAP now so that they can do some things. And now when we get more time to contribute, uh, I guess some more contributions will come. Um, the other things that I want to talk about is now that the whole well, not the whole, but parts of the peer validation and release processes are totally at Broadcom infrastructure, which is inaccessible to others. Um, we started discussions with Carson, yeah, a while ago that we want to. I don't know. We were thinking maybe like to to spin up a concourse instance and do things there, but then we have to manage it, and with the cost reduction initiatives from CFF, we were thinking more to in direction of moving everything to GitHub Actions and similar things, where we don't have to take care about infrastructure, and then we will lower the cost with that anyways. The problem there is that in most of the log aggregator projects, we have some integration tests which are not that good, so we have to invest some time to improve them, so that we can run the things more confidently. There is one peer validation pipeline which runs the CATS test for log aggregator in this Broadcom concourse, but it don't. And I've checked the test since it's nothing serious. Practically, it's like an end-to-end test which we can reproduce in some other way. With integration tests, we were thinking maybe building some Docker image where we'll deploy everything, run the tests, and let everything run through GitHub Actions. That's like our general plan. The other thing is that which I wanted to discuss is that at SAP we're not using the Windows stem cells, and we don't even know how to build them, what to do, how to build the components on Windows, and we will need some help there, I guess, so that we can pull the whole release as it should be, or put out the Windows releases as well. So if someone has some information about that and about the processes, or can offer some help, it would be really great.
Yeah, we build Windows and tests in our pipelines for like Diego components, for example, right? They run on Windows and we test on them. One of the things I wanted to discuss next that ties in a little bit is that the concourse working group is going to be spinning up a concourse that I want us all to move to if we're going to move to concourse. If you end up wanting to go to GitHub Actions, that's fine with me. But I want to shut down the 2 concourses that this working group is currently maintaining as a long-term goal. Plamen, you just unmuted, so.
Yeah, because I'm interested in, does this mean that we can use this newly introduced concourse instance for the Linux stack, FS5, I mean? Or it's something we should discuss on top of something?
I see no reason why you couldn't. Is there a problem that you anticipate there that I don't understand?
No, I'm pretty fine with using concourse because at least for now, due to some cost factors, we were asked eventually to export the GitHub Actions, but as soon as those are 2 different tasks, like building the stack itself and migrating to GitHub Actions, I was more or less not quite happy with the approach. And if there is an option to use concourse right now, I'm pretty fine and happy.
Yeah, I'm okay with you continuing to use concourse and moving it onto that concourse. One of the benefits of using a shared concourse is that like we can still have our own custom workers probably that we'll need, but they'll be running the bulk of the workers. And so they'll be able to get like you can get a 55% discount if you buy it ahead of time. And so they'll be able to like get the bulk discounts as opposed to lots of teams doing lots of little work. So hopefully there will be cost reductions that don't force you to go to GitHub Actions, at least not yet. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
That would be nice and interesting for us as well, but for our pipelines,
Yeah.
there is a small problem, not small problem, but it's a big problem, as we have like part of the pull request validation runs the Cloud Foundry acceptance test, which
Yes.
means spins up a foundation on your own infrastructure with your own tools at Broadcom, and then reports back if everything was good or not. And that's why we were thinking that we should at least migrate this part of the pull request validation so that we have GitHub actions or something similar, better integration test, let's say it so.
Yes.
The CF deployment release process will run the acceptance tests anyways, but we should also make sure that we release running software so that we don't say that we released the thing, then the validation in the CF deployment failed, and then we have to mark releases that are not usable or something like that, which is not an option in my opinion. So that's why
Right now for the logging stuff, you're saying you submit a PR. There's some kind of PR action that links to the private Broadcom concourse. It spins up an environment. It runs cats. It says, yes, it passed. So then your PR
yes.
gets merged. And then there's no pipeline that then runs cats again once it's merged in.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, really? You just run it on the PR and then there's no
It's it.
other pipeline.
It's on the peer, and then when it's merged, it will be run once again. I think when
Oh, okay.
on
Okay.
the
Okay.
master branch.
Okay. And then you release.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I would. I suspect what you're gonna want. I won't shut anything down in Broadcom that's working for you, but if you want control over it, right, it's not gonna. We can't run it in Broadcom, or you wouldn't want it to run it in Broadcom. But like for the rest of the working group that I'm more involved in, like we're only running sorry, this sounds so excessive. I love the idea of being able to run acceptance tests on every PR, but like we're at the point where we're only running acceptance tests once a week. Like we batch all of our PRs together, are merging them, and can only run once a week to claim fewer M's. So I suspect if you wanted to move that to the open source pipeline, we wouldn't be able to claim an environment for every single PR for cost reasons. Yeah.
That's the problem. If we can, not the problem, but the question, if we can claim an environment, or simply say that we would rewrite the same tests as integration tests, and we let them run as GitHub actions, which would be much easier, and we don't have a problem with spinning up environments and then waiting for a result to come practically things, because the test simply run some end-to-end test of the whole log creator stack practically. If a generated telemetry record can be consumed by all of the possible consumption channels practically. That's what the test does, and it cuts, and we can rewrite that with better integration tests, and can get that. So it's not a problem. But in the meantime, till we migrate, we would need some support from you, so that if a pull request failed, then we don't know why it failed. Sometimes, usually it was, I don't know, that the environment couldn't be
for the PRs, like
things
why it failed.
for the peers. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
So it would be.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Oh,
I don't know. Let me know. Yeah, because if you're going to be running PRs, like depending on how much that is, that's just not sustainable for you to be developing, but it's on Broadcom infrastructure where you can't see it, right? Um, but let me know what I can do to help you get access to what you need, and just always make sure to include Srinivas. I've never met him, but I know that's who Carson was working with.
Okay. Now, if we have someone that can help us push the pull request through on the Broadcom side,
Right.
it would be great.
Yeah.
If it's, I don't know, re-triggering the jobs or something, or telling us what failed, that would be great.
And then let me know when you have people that you think are ready to become approvers, and I'll follow your lead on that. Okay, any more about the logging and metrics working group?
No, that was.
Okay. I wanted to talk about IS costs. Continue that thread of it. A hot topic. Here's the plans that I have so far. I'm welcome to feedback or hearing your thoughts or your ideas as well. One, development work must be done on your company's infrastructure. I don't know if anyone's doing this right now. We used to do it occasionally where we would use like CI M's to test something. Obviously, they can run for CI, but not, you can't claim those M's to be doing your individual development work with. I think everyone's following this right now, but I just wanted to make it explicit. For a lot of our pipelines, we are now only running acceptance tests once a week. So there's like a weekly blocker. So for every commit, like the unit tests and integration tests will run that don't claim an environment. Then there's a weekly trigger. And if there's new code, then it will claim it, spin up a bubble environment, run the acceptance tests, and continue. So that will result in fewer environments running and lower our costs. And I'll show you in a moment, it really has. We're also going to stop running our own concourses soon. The concourse working group is, like I said, working on building up a shared concourse that we'll be able to access, and we'll use our working group approvers and reviewer GitHub teams to have access to that. This one is more about my management, but I want to basically migrate everything off. We have 4 different GCP accounts right now. I want to go put everything into the ARP account that a lot of you have access to as our main open source account. So that way we only have one, and it's not like, oh, I have access to some of the open source stuff and not everything. And I am now monitoring spending via ternary. This is what the Linux Foundation uses for all of their, to monitor like all of their projects, not just Code Foundry. So most of our spend is GCP. These are only our GCPs, but we do have a tiny amount of spend in other things. This is our open source, the one that most of you have access to, the App Runtime Platform Working Group GCP account. We were leaking environments for a while, and then we shut down basically every environment and stopped leaking them, so that helped. This is the CF Diego pivotal. That was a Broadcom account that's now been moved to open source that I went to shut down. The spend here is our concourse, basically just our concourse VMs. So when we move to the shared concourse, this spend will go away. And then we have like some tiny little buckets in this like garden dev and syslog dev. So this may look like, oh, great, we're saving tons of money. And we are, like the leak was bad, but still, even at this state over here, we're spending about $5,000 a month, which is too much for us. Unfortunately, the board has not gotten back to us on what our actual targets are. So we don't know exactly what we're aiming for, which is frustrating, but we're trying to do the easy stuff that we see. And we can always tell the board that we do need more money, right? And that the partners do need to pay more. So we'll find out what happens there. But I'm sure you'll be hearing more from me on cost-cutting measures. If anyone else is like, wow, I'm really passionate about tracking these costs, I can get you an email of this report that we'll send out every week or any other report that you're interested in. But all the working group leads and TOC have access to Ternary to look at this data in any way that we want. Any question on cost cutting measures?
Is there any development around a new working group setup for infrastructure at cost size? Remember, Chris mentioned something during the CF summit.
What we've settled on is once a month, the first TOC meeting of the month, we're inviting all of the working group leads that have big spend, and we're talking about cost there. So it's not a working group per se, but it's more like a monthly meeting.
Yeah.
And you're always welcome to join that if you want.
Are the SAP representative there?
Well, Behan and Stefan are
Okay,
on the TOC, yeah.
that's fine.
Okay, that's all my talk about cost cutting. There's nothing else on the agenda. Tom, are you working in this area? Why are you here?
Uh, yeah, I'm doing more stuff in like build, so like with the life cycles and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Well,
Primarily the
welcome.
CNVF life cycle. I've been
Cool.
trying to contribute more to. So I thought I'd listen.
Yeah. Okay. If that's it, I'm gonna sign off. Good to see you. I'll be in Slack. Bye.
Bye bye.
See you.